All right, everybody. The great Commonwealth of Virginia. I wish he was on the Supreme Court so I could ask him really what's going on back in their chambers. George Allen joining us right now on News Radio WRVA. Good morning, sir.
Good morning to you, Rich, and all your great listeners.
Thank you so much. You just heard Gary. We're just weeks away from the congressional folks needing to file their petition to get in the ballot, but we have no white or black smoke coming out of the Supreme Court. What are your thoughts right now? Which way are you leaning? What's going on?
It's hard to say. Anybody who I think are blowing smoke themselves. It is why they're taking this time to issue a position is that it is a split decision with whoever's writing the confirming decision. Let's assume they uphold Judge Hurley of Tazewell County Circuit Court Judge's orders and decisions. So they're taking a long time to write that. Then there's dissent, and the dissents can be long as well. And then there's possibility that it's a 3-3 split, and they're trying to sway whoever the undecided fourth justice is. And maybe I don't know why it's taking them as long. Now, the other thing with that sway, say there's some justices still unconvinced, unpersuaded one way or the other. The context of all of this is Virginia, which each state is different. And Virginia should not be worrying about what's going on in other states. But you could have a situation where one of the justices says, look what's happening in Florida. Look what they just did in Tennessee. Look at the Louisiana versus Calais decision and what that is doing. And look what happened in Indiana with the primary. So it's hard to say, but what they should be focused on is one thing, and that's Virginia's laws and Virginia's Constitution, which has an independent bipartisan commission, not conniving politicians drawing up districts that are compact with communities of similar interest, whether it's a rural area or urban area or suburban area. So other states allow pure political gerrymandering in far-flung red districts, but Virginia is different. And hopefully they're focused on Virginia's laws, Virginia's procedures, and Virginia's Constitution. And I predicted by this time, by the end of today, we would have known from the Supreme Court of Virginia, but
do they pay
all you can
attention,
do
sir?
is wait.
Do they pay attention to, it's famous on Friday, 4:00, you get a news dump out of Capitol Hill or out of the White House because it's going to break away from the news cycles. Do courts operate in that manner as well? Let's bury this on Friday and everybody goes away for the weekend.
I don't know. Every court's different. Every judge, every justice is different. That is, if it were a political decision coming out of a pure politician, and judges are not to be politicians. They're supposed to be above the petty political maneuverings and machinations. But that's what you get with a lot of speculation. It's possible, but I don't care if they release this decision at 11:30 p.m. tonight. It's going to get a lot of attention all through the weekend. It's whatever their decision is. We got 24-hour news anymore, so it's not as if it's like the old days where, reporters are not working on the weekend. It's Ted Turner just died. He's the one who created the 24 hours, 7 days a week news network with CNN, which others have emulated and through the years. So I don't know if that's the case. I actually think they're taking time writing these. I think that the opinion and if there's a dissent, they're writing long opinions. Whether with the actual decision, and there could be dissents. There also could be a situation where a justice is agreeing with one and not in the other, and so forth.
Oh, so we might have multiple affirmation or dissent.
Opinions.
Yeah, different
Right.
opinions. Yeah, that's a great point. Just to make sure everybody's on the same page, this is the court of last resort, correct? When it comes to this, there's no appeal to the U.S. Supreme Court. This is it.
Yeah. For Virginia's, there really is not an appeal to the federal courts for Virginia's. There are some cases that could strain and maybe try to get this into federal court and get it to the Supreme Court of the United States. But the reality is the Supreme Court of the United States has said that political gerrymandering is okay, even though if you and I consider it, well, I'll not.
No, I'm right there with you. I'm right there with you.
I just think in the midst of all these legal wranglings and all this stuff that is going on, what about the principle that the people should choose their representatives rather than politicians rigging election results? That is completely lost in these partisan wars all across the country. The Calais case, and just for your listeners, the Louisiana versus Calais case has to do with racial gerrymandering. A court told Louisiana you had to create 2 minority majority districts, or 2 districts with a black majority. And so to do that, they had to create a district that went all the way from Baton Rouge up to Shreveport. If you know, and it looks like a snake and a worm and all of that. And it's just one of these obviously far-flung gerrymander districts. And the Supreme Court said, no, you can't discriminate. If you want to stop discrimination on the basis of race, stop discriminating on the basis of race. And that district is
not compact and contiguous.
Well, yeah, it's certainly not compact. And it's hardly communities of similar interests. If you know Louisiana, it's a long district. And it looks like a lot like these districts that were put in Virginia, by the way, that look like ostriches
that all go up into
and
northern Virginia.
So Louisiana has a reason to change. Alabama's got one of those minority majority districts that runs across east to west or west to east across the state, and that could be changed. Tennessee, and you know I love Tennessee. It's a great state. But what they've done to Shelby County and Memphis, I think is the reverse of it's very similar in reverse of what the Democrats did to the Shenandoah Valley, the outer suburbs of Richmond and Tidewater, Virginia. And that is disenfranchising people in the Shelby County, Memphis area, that you could have a compact district. Yes, it's mostly Democrats. Yes, it's a majority black, but it makes sense. And to run these districts, one of them all along the southern border from Memphis to near Chattanooga, and another one winds around to the suburbs of Nashville, and another one goes up to Kentucky from Memphis, which is in southwestern Tennessee, and going around. Now, they're going to have a case in their Supreme Court, I suspect, in Tennessee. An interesting thing with the Tennessee Supreme Court, there's 5 justices there.
Right.
But in their constitution in Tennessee, no more than 2 justices can be from one of the 3 regions of Tennessee. Tennessee's, they say the 3 states of Tennessee. There's East Tennessee, Middle Tennessee, and West Tennessee. And so it'll be interesting what their court thinks of these
all
districts.
this. Sure.
Yeah, and the thing is say you have a 4th justice and they're watching all this that's going on, and they're saying, yeah, well, this is why they had to do this in Virginia. Look at all these extraordinary things going on with these abnormal mid-decade gerrymanderings going around the whole country, and that may be a justification, at least in the minds of one justice or more in the Virginia Supreme Court.
We're talking with Governor George Allen right now at 8:43, and I only have about 90 seconds here, sir. So I'm going to ask you an unfair question. But I'm also thinking, yeah, it's part of being in the media, I can ask these things. I'm also wondering what happens afterwards. No matter what the results of the Supreme Court are, we're going to have to accept it. And if it goes the way of the Republicans, the Democrats are going to be fit to be tied, and they're going to be yelling and screaming, the will of the people, will of the people. If it goes against the Republicans, they're going to be fit to be tied, screaming, gerrymander, disenfranchise. How do we have cooler heads prevail with the rhetoric that we have right now, no matter what the outcome is, because I'm believe in law and order, and I have to believe in it even when it goes against my wishes. I have to believe and have faith in the court that they found the right decision.
Yeah, well, we do believe in the rule of law, and that's what the courts are for, to adjudicate these kind of disputes, uphold the Constitution, uphold the law. In the event that they say that this gerrymandering in Virginia, this constitutional amendment was done improperly and not in accordance with the law and Constitution, well, then we have elections. Imagine that. We'll have elections, and we have fair districts, and the Democrats and the Republican candidates can make their case to the voters. And so that's not a terrible solution, because I think existing districts in Virginia are very fair, and we'll have honest, fair debates in districts that are honest and fair and representative democracy. So that's not the worst. If the court allows this to happen, there's going to be a lot of resentment, and the resentment won't just be short term.
No.
It's going to be for 6 years, where people in rural areas feel that they've been disenfranchised and subsumed by these urban Northern Virginia areas. And so that's going to take a long time, but you still don't give up. You keep trying to advocate for good ideas and motivate and persuade people that your ideas are better for them, that it's more affordable, safer, better education, more competitive opportunities in Virginia compared to other states and so forth. But somebody's going to be disappointed. Somebody's going to be joyous. You need to be magnanimous in victory and humble in defeat, and not be sore losers with it. But you just fight it out at the ballot box as best you can.
Governor George Allen joining us here on News Radio WRVA at 8:45. Can I wish your better half a very wonderful Mother's Day?
Yep, I've already gotten Susan her Mother's Day present. We're having to go up north. My aunt, my mother's sister, died. We're going up to a service up north for that, so we're going to head on up this morning. And but I have Susan's Mother's Day present, which she said I could give it to her Sunday when we get back home with it. Let me apologize, though, to your brother. Well, it's his fault for listening to me.
On the Derby. Yeah, he didn't win last year. He won big. Yeah,
but Gary Hess is correct on I said it's Colorado versus either Carolina or Tampa, but Gary's all hot on Carolina for the Stanley Cup. So he's good with that, and I'm glad the Canadians knocked out Tampa. So at any rate, we got all that other sports stuff that is much more positive and invigorating than some of the machinations and connivances of politics and justice.
Well, wish Susan, and I met Susan's mom this year as well. Wish all of them a happy Mother's Day, and I hope you guys have a wonderful Sunday, and my condolences as well.
Well, thank you, and happy Mother's Day to all the great mothers out there. If it weren't for our mothers, we wouldn't be here.
There you go. Thank you, sir. I'll talk to you next week.
Adios, Rich.
Thank you so much. Governor George Allen joining us here on News Radio WRVA 847 this morning here on the Voice of Virginia.